Hello all, and thank you for coming to our Taco Talk. We are grateful as always to the Taco Cat unit. Will the owner of the red 2009 Honda Civic please report to the front desk? Your car is on fire and filled with bees. Higgens T. McBigween was born on June 9, 1959, to parents Maurice and Harry McBigween, two humble tarantula farmers in central Idaho. Higgins excelled at life on the tarantula ranch, and by the age of 12, could already wrangle more spiders than Octavian Stube, the region's premier wrangler. In the 1965 annual Wrangle-Off, Higgens T. McBigween would face off against Stube in the Cool Ranching Death Match for the title of Best Wrangler. The heated bout lasted for almost 2 months, but in the end, McBigween prevailed and won the belt. This truly was a shining point in the young life of Higgins, but little did he know that tragedy was about to strike. The winter of 1966 was the harshest on record to this day, with record lows of -32 degrees on the Garrett scale, and all of central Idaho was hit the hardest. All over the state, food supplies were dwindling to dangerous levels. Life was no different at the McBigween homestead. Late in the evening of January 5th, the tarantula farmers were raided by a band of tarantula farmers. Hungry and desperate, the spider folk barged into the home of the McBigweens and set upon them. Harry and Maurice battled valiantly, but soon fell to the encroaching arachnids. With their last breath, they bought their son just enough time to escape, and Higgens T. McBigween did just that. It is said that during this frantic flight, Higgins swore vengeance on the spiders that ate his parents. After the ordeal at the McBigween homestead, Higgins eventually made his way to Upper Idaho, land of the carnival folk, and joined the circus. Using his affinity for tarantula wrangling, Higgens T. McBigween made a name for himself by encouraging the spiders to engage in feats of strength and incredible athleticism. This act, called the McBigween Variety Hour, lasted 320 minutes, including several intermissions, and was praised by critics and fans alike. The popularity of this hallmark of entertainment allowed Higgens T., known by his fans as Spiders, McBigween, to accrue vast amounts of wealth by licensing his image to various companies and franchises. More importantly, however, during this time period, Spiders McBigween became a household name. The summer of 1988 brought about election season in Idaho. The position in contention? Mayor of Idaho. The candidates? Incumbent Stern Boderton of the Boise Bodertons and Spiders McBigween, beloved star of stage and screen. It was a heated race with mudslinging engaged in by both sides. Boderton accused McBigween of being an out-of-touch celebrity with a penchant for illegal narcotics. McBigween replayed a gaffe of Boderton not knowing the difference between a boat and a ship at all hours of the day and night. In the end, though, Higgens T. Spiders McBigween narrowly grasped victory and became mayor of Idaho. His first act as mayor was to appoint his old circus pal, Chester the Indomitable, to be chief of staff. With Chester by his side, Higgins was unstoppable. With his position of authority secured, Higgens T. McBigween now set his sights squarely on one thing: revenge. Since the Arachno-Buffalo conflict of 1899, the Arachnid Federation had held central Idaho as its capital region. This federation was comprised primarily of tarantula people, but all arachnids were permitted within the territory. Known for acts of indescribable cruelty, the Arachnid Federation was a force to be reckoned with and was accountable to no one. It was from this faction that the tarantula farmers that ravaged the McBigween farmstead hailed. So, with the full might of the Idahoan Army, Higgins set off across the state to once and for all put an end to the atrocities committed by these spider folk and avenge his lost parents all in one fell swoop. Higgins and his army marched for 12 days and 7 nights until they finally reached their destination, the Spider Zone, an area where no signs of life can be found save for the discarded husks of the victims of the Arachnid Federation. The leader of the Federation, Legs, known as such for his vestigial ninth leg, was aware well in advance of the troop of brave Idahoans encroaching on his territory. That being said, Legs had a great deal of respect for McBigween. Tales of his affinity for normal-sized tarantulas had made its way through various channels back to his ears, and the regent was begrudgingly impressed that a mere 2 legs could so deftly command the normal tarantula, which is known to be the least tameable of all spiders. It is for this reason that Legs personally greeted Higgins when he arrived at the Spider Zone. With the 2 armies facing off against one another, Legs sent out a message that he would like to parley with McBigween, and McBigween accepted. The mayor of Idaho and the leader of the Arachnid Federation met one another in the middle of the Spider Zone and began negotiations. Mayor McBigween had very simple conditions: extradite the farmers that had killed his parents. This act would both satisfy McBigween's personal desire for vengeance and show that the Arachnid Federation was turning over a new leaf and would no longer allow its denizens to wander the countryside of Idaho pillaging as they see fit. Legs would not agree to this, however. It was in the Arachnid Constitution that all denizens had the unwavering right to pillage, and indeed pillaging was a point of national pride in the Federation. Negotiations now clearly over, it was then that Higgens T. McBigween drew his magical sword, Clamdrig, the blade bequeathed upon him from the Clam Queen herself, from its sheath. With a deft swing, he severed Legs' extra leg. Then, after sheathing the magical sword, Spider's McBigween proceeded to pick up the severed leg of Legs and use it to bonk the leader until he could be bonked no more. This act would signal the official beginning of the Idahoan conflict of 1988. Thank you for coming to this Taco Talk, and thank you to the Taco Cat University for hosting us this evening. Be sure to join us next week when we examine the Idahoan conflict of 1988. Thanks, and the bee stole the car. To the owner of the red 2009 Honda Civic, the bees have put out your car fire. The bees have also stolen your car. Sorry about your luck. But you know what they say, when you play with fire, you're gonna get your car stolen by bees.